In these perilous times, see from current events how biblical prophecy is coming to pass in front of our eyes. You're watching In the Last Days, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. With Martin and Nathalie Blackham, thank you to our friends and partners who make this program possible. Now, here's Martin and Nathalie.
Hi, welcome to the In the Last Days television program. Great to have you with us wherever you're watching today throughout UK, our friends in the UK, and throughout Europe, and further afield. We welcome you to the In the Last Days television program with myself, Martin Blackham, and my wife Nathalie Blackham from our studios in Jerusalem, and it's great to be both together with you. We're going to have a very exciting program. We've got a studio update. We're going to be telling you about what developments have been happening here in Jerusalem with the television studio. We've got news from Israel. We've got emails. You've been sending us emails. Don't forget, you can send us emails to info@inthelastdays.com. Now, the first thing we want to do, Nathalie, both of us want to do, is to thank you because of your help, we now have just behind the cameras today, we now have the new set. It's nearly finished. There's one or two little things that we need, but the new live set is nearly finished thanks to your help. And we, of course, need more equipment as the work of In the Last Days develops and grows. We're always needing equipment, aren't we, Nathalie?
And to renew sometimes also. Yes.
And to renew equipment. One of the things that we need at the moment is some TV camera cable. We need audio cable, and I think it's about maybe £2,000 for the TV camera cable. But if you'd like to help, then please get in touch with us. It's very easy to donate. There's a PayPal button. There's a PayPal system. We can send you a PayPal money request form, and you can also donate to our friends in Portchester, Stephen, Lorraine, Holmer, Stewart, who will look after those donations. All the details of how to donate will be on the screen. Well, first of all, I wanted to do a few emails first, Nathalie. And our first email is from our good friends Terry and Nancy in Scotland, and they said, we enjoyed the programme at 10 p.m. last night on Revelation television. It was good to see you both sharing together. I want to greet you all on this feast day. Now, just to remind you, we are at a new time. It's now 10 o'clock on a Sunday evening, and it's on fortnightly. So if you're tuning in today, it will be in a fortnight's time. And also, you may be watching it at the repeat time of 10 a.m. on a Monday morning. Now, this is from Rob. He says, I saw you and your husband on Revelation TV. This is from Ruth. And keep those emails coming in. We love to hear from people, don't we, Nathalie? This is from Ruth. She says, hello, Nathalie. We continue to find your programs very enlightening and have told our friends about them so they too can watch and be informed. Thank you for your work. We shared the news about your preparations for the times ahead with our fellowship. And that's from Ruth. Thank you. Ruth, and then this one from Diana, very quickly, and then we need to go straight into the news from Israel. This is from Diana. She said, I was praying this morning, and after my prayers I sat before the Lord, and while he said, listen, I listened and nothing, and then I opened my eyes and the television program was on Revelation TV, the In the Last Days TV program. I turned up and listened, and I heard you talking about Egypt and Israel. Then Nathalie started talking about her book on the Hebrew language, and then she says, I have very warm feelings for the Jewish nation. So it's really a great privilege for us to be a link for you, to be a connection for you between Israel and the UK, or indeed wherever you're watching today. Now, the first story that I want to talk about, this is a news story. It says, Israel arrests West Bank Hamas cells. Gaza militants attacked southern Israel with dozens of rockets and mortars following the visit to the territory by the leader of Qatar. And it says, this is from the Associated Press, it says, Israel's intelligence service has arrested dozens of Hamas members in the West Bank who have been setting up infrastructure for the militant Islamic group. Shin Bet said 30 Hamas members were arrested near Ramallah, which is not so far from the studio, the West Bank's administrative centre. It said they were setting up a Hamas network in the West Bank. and relaying information to the overseas leaders of the group, which is sworn to Israel destruction. They were also setting up Hamas cells in West Bank schools, the statement said. The statement said that 2 of the people arrested were involved in the murder of 2 Israeli soldiers by a Palestinian mob in 2000. And recently, Prime Minister Netanyahu has been to France, Nathalie. And he said he's been to the school. You may remember the story where there was a rabbi and some children. I think they were his. One of them was his.
Yes.
2 of them were his children. Were killed in a school in France. Prime Minister Netanyahu from Israel went there, and it says French President Francois Hollande and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife met in Toulouse on Thursday with the families of the victims of the March terrorist attack at the HaTorah, formerly Otzer HaTorah school. Both Hollande, that's the President of France, and Netanyahu pledged to fight anti-Semitism both in France and globally. During the meeting, Netanyahu said the fact that we are standing here together, that's the President of France, the President of the Prime Minister of Israel, says everything about our partnership in the war against terrorism. Now, what's very interesting was that at the meeting, at this ceremony, there was also the Jewish Agency chairman, Natan Sharansky, the chief rabbi of France. Prime Minister Netanyahu says history teaches us that the plague of anti-Semitism begins with attacks against Jews, but very quickly it spreads further and hits others. If we don't put out the flame of anti-Semitism at the outset, it could turn into a big fire. There have been many, haven't there, Nathalie, anti-Semitic attacks in France, and indeed the Jewish Agency was over in France setting up a security fund, because what you might not know is that Jewish schools and other Jewish organizations, synagogues, have to have security, and the Jewish Agency was setting up a fund that they could have finances towards these needs. Now, we've had some very good response, Nathalie, from the Hebrew letters and the Hebrew book. And if you want Nathalie's book, the Beauty of the Hebrew Language, the Hebrew letters and their meanings, very easy to get hold of that. You just go to our website, www.inthelastdays.com, and there's a link there. You just click on that and you can get hold of Nathalie's book. And so you've got some Hebrew to share with us today, have you?
And it's selling very well, by the way. It's in a book in Jerusalem. They were saying it's one of the bestsellers.
Bookstore.
In the bookstore, yes. And after the Bible, of course. I was very touched when they were saying that. And it's great. I know that it's a book very important because people are very hungry for the Hebrew language, and there is not very many books about it. So if you want it, as Martin was saying, it's very easy to find. You go on our website and you can ask for it. Now I wanted to show you again the Hebrew letters, and there is 22, and today I want to speak to you a bit about we are linked to the letters and God is linked to the letters, and because we are made in the image of God, we are all linked together, which is amazing. You can see here the first letter is Aleph, and Aleph represents God. Do you remember that? It represents like master, and is the number 1 also, but is also Aleph. It's called Aleph, the letter, but if you say Aleph, it's 1,000. So I like to say that God is one, Echad is what we say, God is one, but he has 1,000 qualities. This is one of the things.
And it's the first letter of the alphabet.
And it's the first letter, you're right. So is what I was saying, you see, Aleph is 1. But if you take the letter itself and you cut it in letters, like these 2 little ones will be like a Yod, and that one will be like a Vav, which is very interesting because it's again Yeshua as 1, the Vav represents man, and he has nails also in his hands, 2 nails in his hands. I mean, you can go, you know, there is a lot of way of looking at things. And this, when you take this Aleph, and so as I said, you take these 2 pieces and that, it makes the number 26, because a Yod is 10, a Vav is 6, so if you do a bit of math, you have 26, okay? And if you do, so this is that. Now, when we go into Adam, which is Aleph, Dalet, sorry, this way, you read always this way, Aleph, Dalet, and Mem. Dalet is 4, the number, and Mem is 40, so it's 44 together, and Aleph is 1, okay? So if you put together, see, Dam is 44, and when you get, we have 46 chromosomes. It's just amazing. You have 46 chromosomes. But when you are conceived, you have 23 from your parents, from your dad, and 23 from your dad, and 23 from your mom, which means 23, 20, 46. We go back to 46, which is what we're saying. 22 is like the letters, and 1 is like God, the image of God in us. So 46, when you are a man, when you become a man, when you are created by your parents, you have 46 chromosomes. So it's all.
So wait a minute. The numbers of the letters, because the letters have a numbering system.
Yes.
They added together make 46, which is the chromosome, which is the numbers from the name of Adam.
Because, like, I mean, it's like you can. There is different level. But if you think about these 22 letters, the 22 letters, God has created the heaven and the earth with the Hebrew language. So the 22 letters are not just letters. And I spoke already about that many times. But like, there is a power in the Hebrew language. And it's because of that God used it for creating. And now when we are rediscovering that, He makes us discovering a lot of things. Like, when we are, like, what we are created, we are made in the image of God, we are very important. We are, for Him, only one man, as we say also, being evangelical, Yeshua, Jesus will have given His life only for you, because you are in the world in yourself. And so, again, when you hear about abortion, about like men being men together and like is couple, is not. It doesn't. If you can't create together, it's not a couple in front of God. It's like two men together doing whatever. But this is not what God has created.
It's not the blueprint.
And two men and two women can't create. They can't procreate because it doesn't work. You need to have, God is between a man and a woman. And again, you have, I didn't take, oh yes, I have it here, funny enough. Look, so the Aleph, like I was telling you. And the other thing, you can go deep, but it's like giving you principle in your life, for you, for your family, and for the generation. And God has given us this Hebrew language for us to be able to know the principle of God and the principle of life and how to live. And the Torah is made with that, which is the best present that God has given us. And sometimes I see it on the shelves or I see it on the desk, but nobody's opening it. And like, more you dig in it, more you find things, and the Hebrew language is very important. So again, I was speaking to you like man and women. Ish is the man, Isha is the lady. And I might do a whole program about that sometime, because it's very important, and you can see a lot of things. But like I was telling you, from the women, 23 chromosome, from the man, 23, and it's like you have 22 of the letters and 1, which is because we're made in the image of God. And like Ish, you see the Aleph is in our letters. Abba, father. Ima, all of them have the letter, the first letter of Aleph, which represent God in us, the image of God. Anyway, this is like a little nugget of there is so many things, and it's like giving you the importance of you are precious, I'm precious, and everybody over there, you are all very precious.
And if they want to know more, there's the book, Nathalie's book, The Beauty of the Hebrew Language, which is really a very simple introduction, and you can get hold of that on the website.
I know, people are saying you should start to write another one.
And if you watching today and you'd like to help, it's very easy. You don't have to. I know some people, elderly people who watch the program, are saying, well, you know, it's quite difficult to do PayPal or something like that, but you can also very easily send a check or a postal order, or go even into a branch of Barclays Bank, and we can send you all the details how you can make a donation. So very easy, and we do need your support. This work to go on. We, as we were saying at the beginning of the program, we have equipment needs, and you know, we need to replace there's at least 2 cables that need replacing. And if you'd like to give, by the way, if you'd like to give to a specific project, then just write that with the donation. Now, one of the things that's happened recently in Israel is the visit of the Emir, who's the leader of Qatar, visited Gaza, and it's the first head of state to visit Gaza since it came under Hamas control. Hamas is a terrorist group, is classed as a terrorist group.
Which is interesting because in Hebrew again, Hamas means violence, robbery. So it's interesting.
And in a jubilant celebration alongside Hamas's leader Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa al-Thani, he pledged $400 million in infrastructure for Gaza, aid for roads, a new hospital, and this is very interesting that he pledged help for housing freed Palestinian prisoners. Now let me just rephrase that. That's freed terrorists. And the Qatar was in Gaza. He's there on a diplomatic visit. He's promising to help terrorists. And what's the result of that? The result of that is that Gaza is firing rockets into Israel. And it says that the Gaza rocket barrage on Israel's southern communities continues unabated. Now, a lot of you may not know this. It might not be on the BBC or in the press, but the southern part of Israel is constantly under rocket attack from Gaza. And I know that one of our guests on recently, Daniel Luria, was talking about this. We wouldn't put up with that in Birmingham or London or Manchester, wherever you're watching today. If rockets were being fired from Europe into England, we wouldn't put up with that.
We had 1 week recently, just when the man from Qatar came, it was 80 rockets in 1 week. So you can imagine, like, all the family is disturbed, the kids are going to school and they have trouble going to school, and so the school are closed. And not only that, there are some houses, God is really protecting Israel, so it's amazing. Not very many people have been killed, and I think this time nobody but just 3 were going to a hospital, which is still very important. The houses have been very much damaged. So when your house is damaged, and just for the price of, you know, of Hamas being able to do whatever they want, I think it's important that Israel carry on doing what they are doing.
Yeah, I mean, nobody else in the world will put up with rockets being fired from another country into its territory. And we're just going to put on the screen, by the way, Hamas rocket ranges. 1 million Israelis live under rocket fire. And I'm just going to put on the screen the Hamas rocket ranges picture, which I've got here. We're going to show you that, and it gives you, you can see on it the Gaza Strip and the different missiles. Starts off, let me get my glasses. It starts off with a heavy mortar, goes on to a Qassam rocket, a Katyusha Grad rocket, and an upgraded Grad rocket. And as Nathalie was saying, you know, there was 3 people were injured, one of them seriously. And it's not just that. There's a psychological damage on people. Imagine schools, children who have to hide, not knowing if this rocket will hit them. Factories have to close, offices have to close, people have to go to shelters. It disrupts all the day. So it has an effect. Now, what's very interesting, I was reading one particular news story, and it said that there was a general from Israel was saying, oh, well, you know, they're put up with this, but you know, if you keep having this day after day, you have to go to a bomb shelter to avoid rocket attacks. It does have a consequence. It does affect you. And, you know, Israel has to respond and has to go into Gaza and to put an end to these rocket attacks. Now, the big news in Israel at the moment, as we speak to you and bring this in the Last Days television program to you, is that it's election time. And many of you will remember we had Rabbi Dov Lippman on talking about his bid for the Knesset. He's actually in the news as well. And also another guest we've had on the program, Rabbi Yehuda Glick. Funny enough, both rabbis is running for Likud, for Judea and Samaria. So we'll keep you informed about this. So it's a big news at the moment. And also there's been a merger of parties. It says, this is from the Jerusalem Post, it says that it's possible because of this merger, the Likud and the Israel Beitenu party are merging together, and it says they could get 37 seats in the 19th Knesset, 5 fewer than the two parties currently have, according to a poll by the Smith Research for the Jerusalem Post. 1 week after the Likud and Israel Beitenu decided to merge their Knesset candidates list ahead of the election, which by the way is in January 22nd, many of the voters have moved to other parties. 4 of the seats would go to the Labour Party, which the poll says would grow from 13 seats in the present Knesset to a total of 22 in the next one. So, big thing in Israel is the elections, and so.
But this is interesting. So when you say that, I mean, we have to look also like in the long run, the left wings are getting more right wings, and like the Likud is right wings, but now they have Beitenu, which is very much also right wings, and so there are even more right wings now, which is very interesting to see the evolution of what's happening. And also most of the settlers, as we call them, the people who live in Samaria and Judea, as our friend Yehuda Glick is going in with the Likud, they are growing, they're getting stronger, and they have more and more power, and they are more and more speaking and have a political set now, seat. And this is very interesting because, again, when we were speaking with Dov Lippman behind the scene, what he was saying, I say, man, this reminds me, I can see redemption coming. Because sometimes we speak about redemption like a sudden redemption, but when you see what was happening when God came to rescue the Hebrews, the Jewish people, but they weren't called Jewish at the time, from Egypt, there was a process. It didn't just happen like that. There was a process, and you can see what's happening now in Israel. There is a process that's happening, and the people who love the Torah, who love the land, who know that they are Jewish and happy to be Jewish, they are getting very strong. And I'm delighted to see that, because for me is a sign that they are taking more the place in the land, that they are not just religious, they are putting in practice who they are, and they are having a voice stronger and stronger. And this is all part of the redemption of Israel.
And of course, we've not just got the Israeli election, but we're also in the American presidential election, which of course America greatly affects what happens in Israel. And so, these are very, very serious days in Israel. And as we've said, if you'd like to email us and ask us questions, or you've got points you want to raise, we be delighted to hear from you. Don't forget you can email us at info@inthelastdays.com.
There is this news of the Ethiopians coming back, and now this is really happening, and every month there is some coming back now from Ethiopia, obviously, and they are going to do that for a year, and they really want to bring them all now back here. So this is again part of the coming back of the Jewish people, and please carry on praying for that, because sometimes we can see we are living with the Jewish people and people who come here as tourists, and for them it's difficult to say, yes, I know I will love to be here, and I have friends also on my Facebook say, yeah, one day I will come back to Israel, but it's hard for them because they have to find a job. They really need to have their spirit stirred to say, yes, now is the time to come. And I really want to say also, I think that this big storm, Sandy, that people have heard about, obviously, in the States, really touched also New York, which is the second storm that they had. They had the very bad one also last year. This one is obviously even worse. And I really pray with us that the Jewish people who live there, obviously New York is one a place where there is many Jewish people living over there, few millions, I can't remember the exact number, and there that they say, okay, it's time now to go back to Israel. There was a very funny cartoon, and I'm going to ask my son to put it on, and you will see it's like Noah's Ark, because when we read the Bible, we just pass the time of Noah, and now you have Noah's Ark in the middle of New York, and saying, oh, I had some of my old relative who went on this boat. This is very funny.
I heard that story too about Noah's Ark. Well, we're out of time. It's been great to be with you. Please do contact us at our email address. Don't forget to visit the website, and remember, we're living in the last days.
You've been watching In the Last Days, a TV program with Martin and Nathalie Blackham, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. If you would like to financially support the program or find out about conferences, meetings or ministry products, then please contact us with the details on your screen. Visit our easy-to-use website at www.inthelastdays.com and register for our free e-newsletter. Get the latest news from Israel, product information, online video teaching, or watch today's TV program at a time that's convenient to you. Thank you again, friends and partners, for making this program possible.
See you in 2 weeks, same time, same station, for the next program from In the Last Days.